our television and a hearty welcome to our local news bulletin. I am Leonela Jaola. First, we have a look at the headlines. Guest of honor at the 7th General Assembly of the Organization of Military Sports in Africa, retired Colonel Moana Masako, calls for regional integration and promotion of peace through sports.
I sincerely thank Osman for considering Sierra Leone worthy to host this General Assembly. I look forward to the day when the International Council of Military Sport will express a similar desire to the people of Sierra Leone.
Chief Justice Babatunde Edwards joined the 14th Armed Forces Day celebration Friday, 18 February, salute the gallantry, courage, and sacrifices of Sierra Leone forces, noting that never again shall we allow our beloved nation to suffer and experience such brutal war of annihilation like the 11-year rebel war that devastates the lives of innocent citizens.
The occasion, nonetheless, should be considered a moment for reflection by casting our minds back to the events that led to the Civil War, the immense human capital loss flowing from that tragic Civil War, and resolve that never again shall we allow our beloved nation to suffer and experience another scourge of war.
Afrism Bank, in partnership with Oakland Green Africa Limited and the Ministry of Trade and Industry, launches today's roadshow initiative aimed at boosting trade in multinational African markets.
Because somebody can produce something relatively more cheaply than we can, and we can produce certain things relatively more cheaply than they can, and we swap.
And in sports, the Ministry of Defense and the Republic of Sierra Leone forces will host their next football competition slated for 2023. All these making the headlines. And now let's get you details of the news. Guest of honor at the 7th General Assembly of the Organization of Military Sports in Africa, retired Colonel Moana Masako, has called for regional integration and promotion of peace through sports. He made this call at the official commencement of a 5-day 7th General Assembly of the Organization for Military Sports in Africa, held at the Bintumani International Conference Hall, Aberdeen in Freetown. Compiled by Abdulrahman Kamara, led by Creighton Thomas.
Delivering his welcoming address, the Assistant Chief of Defense Staff, Training and Doctrine, who doubles as the host chief delegate, Brigadier General Christian Fayimba Mara, reiterated the military's commitment being a member of the Organizations of Military Sports in Africa, OSMA, while appreciating the vision of the organization. General Fayimba Mara commended the efforts of the senior management at the Ministry of Defense and the Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces for hosting the 7th General Assembly of OSMA.
The Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces has been a member of the Organization of Military Sports in Africa since its inception because our predecessors were convinced and truly believe in the ideals and values of the organization. And I have to admit that it is a blessing to host this General Assembly during your tenure. The Organization of Military Sports in Africa has gained a lot of popularity through its continental sporting activities.
Brigadier General Havs, Vice President, Council of Military Sports, CISM, intimated on the need to maintain and build in peace through sport, noting the multi-dimensional benefits it has had over the years within military setting across the world.
Minister of Defense and National Security of Sierra Leone, for this present day. This year, your country celebrates the 44th anniversary of civil membership. You joined civil in 1977. That's why your participation in the future is an honor for all of us and show the commitment of your country to support Syria and its universal vision values.
The Chief of Defense Staff of the Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces, Lieutenant General Sule Cisse, conveyed on behalf of the Ministry of Defense and the ISLAF his appreciation for holding what he described as a remarkable feat, the 7th General Assembly of OSMA, noting its very significance in promoting peace through support as the motto of the organization.
We are fully honored in hosting this international conference representing the armed forces of the African member countries. Sierra Leone has been a member of the International Military Sports Council since 1977 and also a member of the Organization of Military Sports in Africa since it was founded in Kenya, though not very, very active. The Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces and our beloved country Sierra Leone cherish OSMA's objective that is friendship through sports, which promotes the culture of peace and fosters solidarity.
Major General Abdullahi Maikano, President OSMA, noted that the goal of OSMA is to promote sports in armed forces all over the world and foster confidence and cohesion among soldiers, as well as create military fit and motivated soldiers.
Organization of Military Sport in Africa, known as OSMA, is an African Continental Sport Association composed of the armed forces of African member countries. It is the African branch of the International Military Sport Council season. OSMA has thus endorses the fundamental principles of International Military Sport Council season. And we share the same motto, that is friendship through sport. The fundamental objective of OSMA is to promote sporting activities and physical education between the armed forces of member countries, with a view to sponsoring a cultural and peace conducive to economic development and African integration.
Colonel retired Moana Masakoi, the Deputy Minister of Defense, who doubles as the guest of honor, commended the leadership of OSMA, noting that the goal in using sport for deconfliction and peace building between countries is the best thing to have ever happened.
I sincerely thank OSMA for considering Sierra Leone worthy to host this General Assembly. I look forward to the day when the International Council of Military Sport will express a similar desire to the people of Sierra Leone. Be that as it may, I implore all our delegates here to build on existing relationships built by the mutual trust over the years and to take advantage of this golden opportunity to make new ones, meaning take the advantage to make new friends.
However, it could be recalled that in November 2021, the leadership of OSMA got its assurance through the government of Sierra Leone to host the delegation from the OSMA to host the next General Assembly this year. For Star News, I am Creighton Thomas reporting.
Guest worshipper at the 13th Armed Forces Day celebration held on Friday, 18 February at the Four Courts of Cochrane Barracks, Chief Justice Babatunde Edwards saluted the gallantry, courage and sacrifices of the Sierra Leone forces, noting that never again shall we allow our beloved nation to suffer and experience such a brutal war of annihilation like the 11-year rebel war that devastated the lives of innocent citizens. Abdulrahman Kamara put this report together.
Several nations of the world celebrate annual Armed Forces Day to recognize and honor their military forces. It is similar to the Veterans Day in the United States and the Remembrance Day in the United Kingdom and many other nations across the world. The Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces fought bravely in World War I and II as part of the Royal West African Frontier Forces in India, Burma and Cameroon, in Liberia, in our 11-year civil war and participated in peace support operations in DR Congo, Sudan, and Somalia. Thus, the Armed Forces Week celebration is in recognition of the victories achieved in all of these operations, as a departure from a traditional Mayon celebration on 24th January every year, which recognizes a victory in only a single battle during the Burma campaign. This year, the Ministry of Defense and the Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces celebrate the Armed Forces Day on February 18, since it was on that day in 2002 that the late President Alhaji Dr. Ahmed Tijan Kaba officially declared the war done in Sierra Leone. The day is not only observed in Freetown, but also in other provincial brigades headquarters across the country. The Chief of Defense Staff of the Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces, Lieutenant General Sule Sese, reiterated the military's commitment to upholding the democratic tenets and their obligation in defense of the government and the people of Sierra Leone.
It is a day to recognize and honor members of the armed forces, both serving, retired, and dead, of their selfless service and sacrifices. Today's celebration is important because it reminds us as a country about the important role the Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces continue to play to keep Sierra Leone safe and stable, and its contribution to peace support and peacekeeping operations for the maintenance of international peace and security. Distinguished invitees, we appreciate your esteemed presence at this ceremony, and I wholeheartedly thank you all for honoring us with your eminent presence. I wish to also appreciate all retired officers, men and women, who have shown care and concern on the affairs of the Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces.
The guest worshipper, His Lordship Justice Babatunde Edwards, while saluting the gallantry and courage of the armed forces for their immense sacrifice in all of the tragic events, noted that never again shall this nation spiral to shut a brutal war of annihilation that devastated lives of innocent civilians.
The occasion, nonetheless, should be considered a moment for reflection by casting our minds back to the events that led to the Civil War, the immense human capital loss flowing from that tragic Civil War, and resolve that never again shall we allow our beloved nation to suffer and experience another scourge of war. This calls for change of attitudes and behavior towards our fellow brothers and sisters, and all constituting citizens and residents of our beloved nation. I salute the gallantry, courage, and sacrifices of men and women of RSLAF as they grapple with diverse and contemporary security challenges across the country. We appreciate your display of unparalleled patriotism and loyalty to country and dedication to duty.
The laying of wreath at the grave sites of the fallen heroes and heroines climaxed the 13th Armed Forces Day celebration at Lumley. Reporting for Star Television, I am Abdul Rahman Kamara.
Make ready. Up. Fire. Down. Reload. Up. Fire. Down. Reload. Up. Fire. Down. After firing, make safe.
Afrism Bank, in partnership with Oakland Green Africa Limited and the Ministry of Trade and Industry, launches a two-day roadshow initiative at the Radisson Blu Hotel aimed at boosting trade in multinational African markets that will benefit and strengthen industrialization in African countries, with the theme supporting the Africa trade agenda, ensuring the last mile. Isabella Stanley has more, and she now reports.
This roadshow initiative is to develop business relationships between African countries. The first day session saw engagement of financial sector and the second day the business community in Sierra Leone. The sessions are meant for them to understand continental free trade and their roles in transforming intra-African trade. Professor Kelfala Kalon, Bank Governor of Sierra Leone, spoke on how this initiative will anglerize infrastructure and human capital in Sierra Leone.
So we trade because somebody can produce something relatively more cheaply than we can, and we can produce certain things relatively more cheaply than they can, and we swap. That is the essence of trade. But for trade to occur, certain things have to be in place. We have, first and foremost, investment in infrastructure to make sure that the trade infrastructure doesn't raise costs as much as does not raise costs. Human capital, education in our people, healthcare, all of which are human capital, and access to finance.
Afrexim Bank supports African corporates to improve competitiveness in Africa. Eric Mocho is the Regional Chief Operating Officer for Anglophone West Africa. He mentioned how beneficial this trade relationship will be to Sierra Leone, as there are various products to present that will enhance productive capacity of Sierra Leonean businesses.
Organized under the theme, Supporting Africa Trade Agenda, Ensuring the Last Mile. This resonates strongly with Afrexim's mandates to promote, facilitate, and finance intra- and extra-African trade through strategic alignment with the trade and economic development agendas of member countries like Sierra Leone. A bank from Sierra Leone could partner with Afrexim Bank and provide financing support to the government or to a government project, a local corporate, or a small and medium-sized enterprise in Sierra Leone.
Gabriel Eagle, managing partner Oakwood Green Africa Limited, emphasized unity as it is a formidable engagement that can seek forth good to make Africa at its best. He continued that improving trade among African countries will not only boost trade but also support others to thrive and reshape collective interest.
The power of the collective, because there's no greater power than this. The power of the African collective, Ubuntu. Let me borrow the Eastern African saying, I am because you are. I am because we are. Distinguished guests, Mr. Chairman, the future of Africa and the future we seek can only be created today.
Dr. Inga Sandi, Minister of Trade and Industry, noted that Africans can now trade to each other, ensuring profitability in all countries, and that manufacturers and Sierra Leone can now trade with ease to other African countries. He continued that His Excellency the President Julius Maada Bio has always been in greater support of trade in Sierra Leone as the sixth betterment of all Sierra Leoneans.
He has been very passionate about African integration. He wasted no time after taking office to sign the Continental Free Trade Agreement on the 1st of July 2018, ratified and got the instrument deposited to the AU on the 29th April 2019. You will agree with me that while the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement is a key milestone in changing the trajectory of African development, it can only be meaningfully realized if effective trading is carried out under the scheme.
For Star TV News in Freetown, I am Isabella Stanley.
Chief Executive National Public Procurement Authority Ibrahim Masori has delivered lecture on public procurement and the role of procurement to students at the Eastern Technical University in Kenema, noting the significance of procurement in mainstreaming the judicious use of the nation's resources. Here is more on that report.
The aim of a public lecture was to broaden the mindset of students on how public procurement is done in the public sector. According to the Chief Executive National Public Procurement Authority, Ibrahim Bemaswari, public procurement is a process of acquiring goods works and services for government institutions. He admonished the student that for any nation to attract foreign direct investment and have local entrepreneurs that could strongly contribute to the human capital development of the nation through job creation for their citizens, the government has to be transparent, ensure value for money, and make sure that the people's money are spent judiciously.
I realize is that a lot of people got interest in procurement across Sierra Leone now. And to be honest, to all of you, that was my dream. A dream for Sierra Leoneans to see and understand the relevance of expenditure in our country. Tenders need to be floated and other processes are supposed to be followed before it becomes a structure. And then it's a procurement process. The goods we buy to run our day-to-day activities, it's a procurement process. So what does that tell you? Procurement is goods, works, and services. Hiring human capital is a procurement process. So that tells you how large procurement is in a nation. And in any nation, the highest spender of that nation is the government. For a country to be stabilized, for a country to have economic growth, for a country to ensure business is boom, public expenditure needs to be very, very good.
Professor Mohammed Kone, Vice Chancellor of the Eastern Technical University, commended the Chief Executive, National Public Procurement Authority, Ibrahim Bouamaswari, noted the timeliness of his delivery and the impact it has on the overall psyche for prospective procurement practitioners.
His love for education, his love for this nation, came here to deliver a public lecture and again to launch, open the structure he helped to construct for our students of Eastern Technical University, the current student and the student yet to come or yet unborn. It's a very, very big opportunity our brother Ibrahim Sore has given us, particularly the students. And the student called the structure, they said, strategies garden. But to me, it's actually garden of knowledge. Because when they're here, they are going to discuss so many issues on education. And I believe the best way to survive in this world is through education.
The National Coordinator, Ibrahim Bouamaswari Foundation, Mana Masakoi, had this to say.
The foundation has been organizing the biggest academic crusade in Sierra Leone, that is the quiz and debates competition. The quiz and debates competition for school-going pupils was geared towards complementing His Excellency's drive in the promotion of the free and quality education. As if that was not enough, the foundation organized free summer school for school-going pupils in the township of Kenema and its immediate environs. This again was a laudable venture, as more than 40 teachers were recruited with an appreciable amount of stipend at the end of the entire exercise, followed by a cocktail party in appreciation of their service. Last week, the Ibrahim Bouamaswari Foundation donated 28 brand new HP computers to 28 constituency secretary generals of our darling Sierra Leone People's Party.
The program was climaxed with the official opening of the Swarish Ultra-Modern Garden in honor of His Excellency, the President, Dr. Julius Maada Bio. It could be noted that when President Julius Maada Bio was campaigning during the 2018 general elections, he promised the people of Sierra Leone that if he was given the opportunity to lead his nation, he will ensure he blocked the leakages in the expenditure of the government of Sierra Leone. Hence, the appointment of Chief Executive Ibrahim Bouamaswari became the radiance of the government new direction within the procurement landscape. Abdul Rahman Kaba reporting.
Well, in case you just joined us, you're watching the local news bulletin here on Star TV. Now, the Secretary General of Gasada Farm Family, Ahmed Dudu Kamara, has said the establishment of the organization is aimed at fostering peace and common coexistence in the Wilberforce community by refocusing the minds of young people towards positive attitude. He made this disclosure during their annual Thanksgiving service held at the Bethel Methodist Church, Wilberforce. FEB compiled this report.
This is how the annual Thanksgiving service of the Bethel Methodist Church commenced, in which the Casada Farm family had come to seek the blessing of the Lord, during which the Secretary General of the family, Ahmed Dudu Kamara, stated that the family is a social organization with co-goal of contributing to societal development through peaceful coexistence.
Organization like a social organization where it's very important and influential to the community because we influence a lot of youth and with the help or take up project that we develop the community. Like for instance, the Wilberforce Primary Municipal School, we don't give them tables and chairs, we can give them books, pen. We get a lot of mocks in school, we don't donate tables and chairs. The mocks, when first month can come, all the mocks in the community, we can give them rices. Now for foster peace, unity amongst the youth of Wilberforce, and we try to make developmental program the way go more beneficial than what we do. But also that actually at least we don't really bring youth then together, where at least for youth then they will not be positive, we don't bring some positivity to them, that we don't try to change the mindset of some youth then, and we still try to do more. But basically, you know, like most of we do various things then, not through donations, and like what we can do again Thanksgiving and whatever proceeds we can come, now we can use and we can make Thanksgiving. At times we can do them and launch on sales for making ways for. So we can donate from the own small.
Dr. Reverend Lucia Ganda, when delivering a very attention-catching sermon, noted that the Casada Farm family has a brighter future that confirms to the dedication of the Lord.
Anything that this organization will be after today is coming from what you have not seen, but somebody is proposing in his heart that this is what we want, that this direction is what we want to go, and in 5 years' time, this is what we should be, and then it will happen if diligence is applied. Amen? If diligence is applied, it will happen. God is the God that makes the world. So, if this organization is to transform, if our lives are to be transformed, to conform to the image of the Son of God, it has to be through the grace of God given already and our determination to take us there. What we all have to be in eternity, we do not know now.
Compiled by FEB, Zenob Sunkai Kuruma reporting.
And to round up a news bulletin, let's turn our attention to sport. Now, the Ministry of Defense and the Republic of Sierra Leone Forces will host their next football competition selected for 2023. Here is a sports correspondent, Hilton Jun, for more sporting update.
For the first time in the history of the organization, the Ministry of Defense and the Republic of Sierra Leone Forces will host the next one of the sporting events in Osma in the annual event of the organization activity. This statement was revealed during the 7th General Assembly for the Organization of Military Sports in Africa, hosted in Sierra Leone from the 21st to the 27th February 2022. According to the president of the organization, Brigadier General Maikano Abdullahi, Sierra Leone have been chosen to host one of the sporting events next year. The organization was created on March 12, 1994 in Conakry, the Republic of Guinea, which aims at fostering peace and unity among its members' nations.
International Military Sport Council, we call it OSMA, but OSMA is a French connotation. That is Conseil, that is Organization de Sport Militaire in Africa. Some of you will be hearing CISM. CISM is also a French connotation, meaning Conseil International de Sport Militaire. So season is a French word. Osma is also a French word, but we all know what it means. International Military Sport Council and the Organization of Military Sport in Africa. If I may start, Organization of Military Sport in Africa, known as OSMA, is an African Continental Sport Association composed of the armed forces of African member countries. It is the African branch of International Military Sport Council season. OSMA has thus endorses the fundamental principles of International Military Sport Council season. And we share the same motto, that is friendship through sport. The fundamental objective of OSMA is to promote sporting activities and physical education between the armed forces of member countries, with a view to sponsoring a cultural and peace conducive to economic development and African integration. In view of this, with the ideas conveyed through its activities, the Organization of Military Sport in Africa was organized and admitted into the African Union, into the Conference of Sport Ministers, which held on the 17th to 21st October 2011 in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The headquarters of OSMA is in Yaoundé, Cameroon, in accordance with the headquarters agreement signed between the government of the Republic of Cameroon and the Organization of Military Sport in Africa.
President Brigadier General Maikano Abdullahi lauded President Bio for his support to the Ministry of Defense, ensuring that the Sierra Leone Armed Forces is a member in the organization.
The first edition was in Kenya, sponsored by His Excellency Vice President Daniel Aramoy. The second edition will be hosted in Nigeria. Local chief delegates here, and you will satisfy any question you want to ask about the hosting of the game in Nigeria. We have a popular event, African Military Football Championship, we call it CAMFOOT. It is sponsored by, it will now be sponsored by the President of our Sierra Leone, His Excellency President Madai Bio. The African Military Boxing Championship is another competition we have. This championship is being sponsored by His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni of Uganda, the President of the Uganda. Then we have African Military Judo Championship. We call it Camp Judo, sponsored by His Excellency in accordance with the headquarters agreement signed between the government of the Republic of Cameroon and the Organization of Military Sport in Africa. OSMA was created on March 12, 1994 in Conakry, the Republic of Guinea, and ratified on September 24, 1994 at the 47th Season General Assembly in Istanbul, Turkey. The first General Assembly of OSMA was held in Algeria on March 20.
Various top-ranked officials made meaningful contributions towards the event, in which the program was climaxed to question and answers by various media practitioners, and answers were provided by Head of Sport at the Ministry of Defense. For Star Sports, Creighton Thomas reporting.
Well, that's all we have for you today in the National News Bulletin 5. Thank you for watching. I am Leonora Jola. Stay with us for more interesting programs coming up.